Come on, man. It's a state of stupidity.
It's a state of stupidity.
State of stupidity.
That's just a state of stupidity.
State of stupidity.
I believe it's a state of stupidity.
They want you to believe it's the state of stupidity.
I told him. I said it's a state of stupidity.
Welcome to episode 10 of the State of Stupidity. Today, we got a few wide-ranging topics. We'll start with some good stuff, some hope. Put out some hope into the world, into the ether. I love my research, love doing, looking into how to get away from the world we're currently living in and get into more of, we live in a world that's much based around scarcity. It feels like the resources, we're always told, they're so scarce and everything's running out.
Yeah, we have more technology and better technology now than we've ever had.
Right.
But we can't seem to farm stuff properly or well, you see all the food plants that they're blowing up or burning up or, you know, they're doing it on purpose.
Well, and that's what I've focused this week's attention towards is food. And the way we've been doing things, go figure, has been wrong. Jay, when we were growing up, they taught us about the food pyramid. They taught us about how important it was to have this amount of this amount of that. And, you know, now, if we've learned anything, it's that they're full of fucking shit.
Well, yeah, I mean, the other thing is, if the food pyramid was so great and we should follow that, you know, to the T like they tell us, how comes the people that are following it, how comes the country is so obese? Let's ask that question.
Because it's upside down.
Well,
it's legitimately upside down. And the stuff that's at the top, we need the most of, and the stuff that's at the bottom, we need the least of.
Exactly. And, you know, they have all these programs set up for the less fortunate, let's call it.
Yeah.
And they're giving them all the stuff that they shouldn't be eating.
Right.
And and they think that they should be, and they think they're doing good. And that's why I think we're in the top 5 of the most obese countries in the world.
I couldn't see us not being number one.
We're not quite number one.
But that's just because of population density, I'm sure.
It might be.
Because, I mean, if you just take a look around.
I think it's based off percentage.
Yeah. Well, and that's where they can, that's, numbers just don't fucking matter. Because at the end of the day, you just look with your eyes. And that's what they're really trying to do, is to keep us from believing what we see. Believe the message that comes across our phones, our TVs. Don't believe what we can see in reality with our own 2 eyes. It turns out monocropping isn't the way to play with Earth. Go figure. You know, strip it down and only plant one thing. Even regurgitating. You know, you go from, or what the fuck do they call that? When crop rotation.
Yeah, they rotate them.
Yeah, they do one crop one season, another crop another season to transition the nutrients and stuff like that. Well, it turns out there's even a better way where you can literally grow an overabundance of food within your own backyard. And it's the cost of what it would cost you to get produce for you to eat for the week, for the month, whatever. You can literally take the seeds. Now, of course, you've got to be specific to the stuff that's going to grow in your climate. You can't just go and throw anything out. But you would be surprised at just the amount of things that'll grow and the turnover. You have your perennials and your annuals, but you have crops that can go from seed to fruit bearing, to plant, whatever, fruit, veggies, you know what I'm saying. Yeah. Producing a product within 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, you don't need a lot of space.
No.
To grow your own food to live off of. I mean, you know, look at what they do, you know, all these homesteaders.
Yeah.
And you can grow stuff that's not necessarily like you were saying in your climate. You just got to build a greenhouse, which is it's not the hardest thing in the world to do.
No, it's some PVC tubing and some plastic sheeting. Exactly. That's all you need.
So, I mean, it doesn't take a lot to grow. They don't want you growing your own food, though.
Right.
Why do you think all the seeds you buy now you can't take the seeds from that fruit and grow that fruit next year with the same seeds.
Well, the ones, the
genetic
genetically
seeds,
modified ones,
which
you can't.
Which are 90% of
them-
this. Yeah, which is 90% of the seeds. You have to find the heirloom seeds, I think they call them.
Right. Well, or you go local. You go to somebody who is growing their own produce.
Yeah,
and
but
you get
I know a
theirs.
bunch of farmers are buying them seeds
Yeah.
from the corporations.
Right.
So those seeds don't. That's why they have to. Why do you think if it made sense for a farmer to reuse his own seeds, why wouldn't he do that? You know, but they can't do that because once they've bought them seeds the first time, they can't harvest the corn and take the seed and replant the corn. It won't grow. They have to buy a whole nother seed from the manufacturer.
That is what we've and again, even that narrative sounds like it's been put in place to try and make it seem like it's harder than it is, because there's food forests out there.
Oh, there are, but I'm saying if you buy these seeds from these corporations,
right? If you buy anything from a corporation,
if you drive down the road and you see all these cornfields, and they always have a sign at the end of them. You know, it has the name of the company and it has a code on it.
Yeah.
If you go get the seeds out of that field, you will not be able to grow that corn.
Well, yeah. Now, I'm not saying that it's something that you can do with just any, but it's not like you have to buy them from someone. You can get the fruit.
But what I'm saying
there will be, if you go the route of people, there's plenty of people out there who are against spraying. I know there's places that they actually make it in order to be able to do business, you have to spray your crops. But there are people out there who are, there's plenty of farmers markets where there's people selling produce that you can still get a hold of you can get a hold of good seeds. You still can get a hold of.
I'm not saying you can, but
Right.
it's a lot harder than you think. They even got the little guys.
No, I'm telling you, it's not as hard as you think.
Yeah, well,
I'm telling you, it's as easy as I've over the course of the past few years, I've done some experiments of my own within my own yard of just watching the way the wildflowers grow in May. There is so much that will grow just from what nature does of birds, squirrels, and all that, where they transplant and seeds will find a way to grow. And what grows in your yard before you go and mow it down to just grass has such good healing abilities, good qualities to it. Basically, what I'm saying is that you can literally grow most of what you need to thrive and survive within your own little plot of land. Long as you, it doesn't even take a lot of time. It's just as simple as doing a little bit of research on the front end of it to find what'll grow best. You can even get anti-bug plants. There's plants that fucking keep mosquitoes away. You know what I mean? You create what's considered like a food island, where you have an ecosystem of a fruit-based tree, a vegetable, and all of these different plants and bushes that you plant within it. They use nutrients among each other that they thrive within these little food islands, they call them. And so that you can grow, each food island will produce an abundance, and then you take that abundance and you can plant new food islands around your property. Doing it in the garden way of doing it, that there's nothing wrong with doing it that way, but it sterilizes the land, the growth around the ground within doing it in a garden. You'll end up where eventually the plants do start to just pull certain nutrients. So that's where creating an ecosystem where they all communicate with each other, it ends up producing amazing results. Where like there's programs out there that are trying to community-based programs that are trying to teach people how to be self-sufficient with just even the scraps, the leftovers from what they bought at, you know what I mean? Instead of throwing everything just in the trash and then sending it away, use what you are already producing as garbage to create new life that will eventually get you to a point of self-sustaining.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying you can't do it, but what I'm trying to tell you is they're making it harder and harder to find. You need to find the original heirloom seeds first, because if you can't get your hands on them, it's not going to regrow. They're not going to regrow.
Well, and it's not even that they're stopping. They're even stopping people. There's whole places where like HOAs and shit get involved and say you have to have your yard this specific way.
If you move into a communist
Right.
HOA, that's your own fault.
Absolutely.
So I don't even feel bad for you. But the key is tracking down the right seeds, because even like the reason a lot of the crops they don't even have to spray anymore.
Yeah.
Because the seeds are genetically modified.
Yeah.
That birds and stuff won't even eat them.
Right.
So if they're not going to eat them, do you really think we should be eating them?
Right. Well, and that's where I'm saying we moving towards this.
Or the beet, even a lot of that corn isn't even used for human consumption. It's to feed beef.
Yeah.
So if the animals are eating that,
Yeah.
and then we're eating the animals,
Yeah.
or drinking the milk, you're getting all that genetic shit, whatever it is.
Well, that gets
Right through that.
into microplastics and even like the shrinking of taints and shit like that.
Yep.
Like, I mean, the human anatomy is literally changing based off of the fucking chemicals that they're putting into everything.
There's a bunch of farmers now fighting against the government because they want to force them to give all their cattle these mRNA injections.
Yeah.
And then you see now, I just starting to see more stuff in the news and the newspaper and TV about we're going to have another COVID surge. Did you see that?
No.
Oh, yeah, they're pushing that.
Of course.
You got to be kidding me. We're going to have another surge now?
Well, that's perfect timing because Biden just signed over the United States to the World Health Organization. He signed that they're allowed to take over in the event of
a possible pandemic.
A possible, not even an actual. So
yeah, and they can tell you where you can spend your money, where you can travel.
Now, doesn't that sound like
it's pretty ridiculous? I mean, what cracks me up too with the World Health Organization, they wanted to listen to them so much on COVID.
Yeah.
They had to listen to what they said because they're the experts.
Yeah.
Well, now they're telling you not to use a specific sweetener.
Okay.
Because it causes cancer. And they've been researching that for years.
Right.
And they came to the conclusion that sweetener is no good for you.
I mean, I thought they told us that it wasn't good like
20,
30 years ago.
Well, the funny part is the government said that the World Health Organization doesn't know what they're talking about.
Oh.
So they've been researching these sweetener replacements for 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
They don't know what the hell they're talking about. They researched COVID for 3 months, and
they know.
And the shot's perfect for you. There's nothing wrong with it. It's completely fine.
Yeah.
So we should listen to them on that. Minimal research, but all this research, don't believe any of it. It's all bullshit.
Well, and that's just that plays into what I was saying with their narrative is bullshit. Their narrative is to make you feel like you need them.
And who was that doctor that called them out on that? Dr. Nass or whatever?
I think.
Called them out on the...
Dr. Knapp? Or
no, I think it was Nass. Wasn't it Nass?
Nass, yes.
Nass.
Yeah.
She called them out on all the stuff that the World Health Organization is going to have, the power they're going to have.
Right.
Which pretty much says there's no human rights.
Yeah.
And animals have more rights than humans.
And this is coming down the pipeline. And she sat there and told.
Yeah.
And, I mean, everybody just kind of sat there and just.
Didn't really say anything.
No.
And now they're going after her medical license.
Right.
For what reason?
Yeah. Exactly. I think the reason was her treatment of patients for the COVID.
Okay.
Yeah, she was treating them. She was, and so they're trying to strip her of her license because she was trying to help people instead of just sending them on their way with bad advice.
Yeah, instead of trying to give them shots.
Well, I mean, this was even before the Shotspur thing.
Well,
she was treating them with the way that it looked like. Seemed to be helping people, and you know what? It seemed to help people.
Well, I seen the Joe Rogan podcast, they had Aaron Rodgers on there.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a Green Bay. He was a Green Bay Packers football quarterback. And if you remember, they were all over him because he refused to get the shot.
Well, I mean, they did the same thing. Joe Rogan, he posted a video about how great he was feeling because of listening to his medical experts who told him what to take and how to take it. And as bad as things are, they needed to manipulate that by actually changing the coloring of the footage and posting that. See, he looks so sick. See, they made him look sicker than he was.
The whole thing with Aaron Rodgers, the reason he didn't want to take the shot is because it has PEG in it, which is propylene glycol.
Yeah.
He's allergic to it.
Okay.
So if he would have took the shot,
he would have died.
He could have died, exactly. So they don't want to tell you why he didn't take the shot. They just told he's against it.
Yeah.
So the only shot he could take would have been the Johnson & Johnson.
No.
And that was pulled off the shelf at that same time because it was killing everybody. They don't want to, possible issues. No, people were dying.
Yeah.
That's why it was pulled.
Well, and
but they made him out to be this bad guy, anti-vax, anti-this. But no, he wanted to protect himself.
Right.
Is there something wrong with that?
Well, when it doesn't fit their narrative.
Exactly. Did you?
And he had a fan base. See, the thing is they are scared of anyone who gets enough people behind them, behind a movement.
Well, they're only afraid of you if you don't buy into their nonsense and push their narrative.
Well, but that's what I mean. If you don't, they make you.
Did you see Jamie Foxx?
They make you.
They made him get the shot.
Right.
And he almost died.
Yeah. Well, he's not. That's not Jamie Foxx anymore.
That's what I was going to say.
That's not Jamie Foxx anymore.
Did you see the pictures of him?
Yeah.
It looked like he was out in the sun, and instead of burning, he faded.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't look nothing like him.
Well, I think they cloned Tyrone.
That's a good possibility.
That movie was awesome. And so many fucking secrets, so many fucking hidden bullshit in it.
I couldn't get into that thing.
You couldn't? How far did you get into it?
Like 5 minutes.
Dude, no. You got to get to each half-hour mark.
Yeah.
They end up where it kind of builds, and then around the half-hour mark, it's like, what the fuck am I watching? Then when you're paying attention to it, dude, no, that movie was about cloning black people into white people.
Really?
And you go and say that he looks like he's fucking faded. That's why I'm saying, like, I'm just saying, like, he was literally just in a fucking movie about them cloning people where the end game was, sorry, fucking spoilers, you need to go and fucking watch the movie because it came out when fucking Barbie and Oppenheimer were making all the noise. They slipped this fucking thing onto Netflix, and holy fuck, the messaging that's in it.
You see, talk about the Barbie thing. Did you see? I was watching. They had, I guess it was one of the, they had them like red carpets when they debuted the movies and everything. They had these women there with see-through dresses on.
Yeah.
And you got these little kids. I'm like, what the hell's going on here?
Well, I mean, and that plays into
ridiculous.
It's corruption of the innocent. And
absolutely. I mean, if me or you went there with see-through underwear on, we'd be in prison.
Right.
These girls are going there with see-through dresses on. It doesn't even make any sense, and it's completely fine. I don't understand it.
It's because it's to try and normalize that type of. There was a lot of bullshit brought out about the whole Barbie, what the message that it was actually portraying, and
well, yeah, they're getting $1 billion.
The fact of
more spending money.
Well, the bullshit that was like the imagery and shit in the movie is not necessarily for children. Like,
no.
Regardless of how tame it is, like just because you slap something with a PG-13 rating, it doesn't mean that it's not subconsciously influencing some shit in a way. Like, just because it seems okay enough for a kid, just because it's not overtly sexual, doesn't mean that there's not some fucky bullshit. I'm not saying it doesn't look like it's a fucking funny movie. I'm not saying that I couldn't get the political aspect of it, but that doesn't mean you sit a fucking preteen teen down just because it's fucking Barbie.
Exactly.
That's the whole fucking thing they're trying to say. Oh, it's just a Barbie movie. You're more upset about it than the people who know. It's not that anybody's really fucking upset. It's that everybody's trying to fucking push shit on kids.
Exactly.
and turn kids. And
I mean, I'm not even going to watch the movie because I seen all that nonsense with the date when they were at the debut of it, and I'm like,
yeah,
I'm not even gonna tie in myself in anything into that that nonsense because they want to talk about the stuff that these kids do. It's because that's what you're teaching them.
Yeah, and that's just it. Well, each thing comes along to I'm not saying that everything starts out from a place of evil, but whenever it involves kids, pedophiles will find a way in, and they will take it over, and they will find a way to corrupt it. Instagram just released an article, or there was an article released within the last month or two where Instagram is currently the biggest facilitator of child pornography and motherfuckers talking to people they shouldn't be. And nobody batted an eye because it's one of those things where it plays into what's becoming an overarching narrative of ours where the world as we know it is not as we know it. And the way things are going, it's corruption of the innocent. And I don't even think that it's necessarily for any specific reason. I think this has become more of just how far can we game the system, because to divert over to the Ukrainian thing, since we're on the topic of innocence, it turns out yesterday Redacted, the YouTube channel, released a video where they were talking about baby farms in Ukraine. There's an underground bunker and a Swiss-based, of course, but a Swiss-based company that it's supposedly to help surrogates. It's a surrogate thing, and it's just the way they showed it, the optics of it. They're currently doing this in a bunker in Ukraine or somewhere near Ukraine. But in 2014, there was an orphanage problem where the problem was that there were too many orphans over there.
Okay.
Now, how do you go from 2014, too many orphans, to at some point between then and now, you thought, you know what, they've already got an overabundance of children over there, so why don't we just keep producing an overabundance of children over there? Like, what's the fucking real reason that you would need to set up some where corruption runs rampant, where you're allowed to get away with the most heinous shit on the planet? And now, when I say baby farm, I mean it's a baby farm. They're paying women to utilize their wombs to just produce an endless stream of kids. It's not an exaggeration. It's what it is. They're using them for the guys. In the public face, it's for surrogacy. It's for good. But then when you look at the scale of the child sex trafficking, when you look at slavery in the world as we know it today, and when you look at organ harvesting, you can connect some dots, right? Am I fucking crazy here, Jay?
I don't know. I don't know anything about that. I didn't see anything about them baby farms, but listen.
You're gonna be, it's a rabbit hole to go down, and I kind of think it might be the reason that things are going the way they are over there.
Think about it. Is it easier just to have these women produce them, or is it easier to have to try to steal them from everybody? Obviously, if that's what they're doing, it's a lot easier to just produce them,
right?
Have an endless stream there. If that's what they're doing, I mean, I don't know. I didn't look into that much, but I'll
send you some links.
I'll
Miss Tori, she'll have some links.
If that's the case, I mean, the only reason they would be doing it was for either number one, they want to test on them, because if they had that one doctor, I forget his name, but he had to testify under oath, and he testified that they were testing vaccines or whatever on kids, on orphans, on orphans.
Yep.
And I forget what else they said. I would link for that. I'll send that to Tori so she can put that up. But that would make sense. I mean, you know, think about it. Planned Parenthood they were brought into the spotlight. So now it's not easy for them to sell all the baby parts.
Right.
So what else are you going to do?
Well,
You're going to have to go somewhere else to do it.
You got to create a new stream.
Exactly. You got to create a new stream. So, I mean, that could be what it's for. I don't know.
Billions of dollars. This is a billions of dollar industry for and now, I mean, it's not like these are clones, because you could easily do that. But, and
yeah, but the problem is, if you test the same thing on a clone, you're going to get the same results.
Right, exactly.
So you can't really do that.
No.
That wouldn't really make sense.
You need
That wouldn't scientifically.
a soul-based.
Yeah,
you need a soul-based human.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you need multiple different DNA streams
Right.
to test it properly and to fine-tune it.
Well, and that's so the video that Redacted shows them in an underground bunker talking about how women can come to their bunker to be able to have their children. So they're trying to even get more women. They're recruiting. They're in the recruiting phase.
Well, if they're going to pay them money, they'll do it.
Well, absolutely. And I mean, the surrogate people, like I said, are paying $10,000 to $15,000, $20,000 to even just have a chance at getting a kid.
Yeah.
But they now, on that scale of things, it kind of shows a light on this whole Ukraine war thing, where if Putin, say you're running a country right aside of, well, I mean, technically it's a part of your country.
Yeah.
You find out that the most heinous shit is going on in that country. Wouldn't you want to try and stop it? Especially if you're not making any money off of it? Or
if you're not making any money, you probably are. I mean, I don't necessarily know if that's why Putin's doing what he's doing. He could just be power hungry. Yeah, maybe he wants to get to the top faster than anybody else.
Well,
or maybe this whole thing's maybe this whole thing's just a dog and pony show. You know what I mean? It might not. Because I mean, let's face it. You know, everybody hates Trump, but what did he do when Trump was in there?
Right.
Nothing. Because I mean, look at the leadership we have when we have, under Democratic leadership in Syria. What did Obama say? If they use chemical weapons, that's crossing a red line.
Right.
They used chemical weapens. What did he do?
Nothing. Yeah. Oh, he was too busy bombing innocent families and weddings and shit like that.
Yeah, he did nothing. So what happened when Trump got in office and Syria, all they did was took the weapons out of the bunker to get to load them on the planes to do their next bomb. What happened then? Trump launched 22 cruise missiles and destroyed the whole base.
There you go.
So
now, with the way you said it there, I had
and listen,
some dominoes fall for me. Okay? So the Trump of it, and the relationship that I saw again. Now that time frame is kind of like a bit of a void for me because of my.
Yeah. Before you go into that too, another thing you got to remember is when Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State.
Yeah.
She met with Putin privately.
Okay.
Wasn't supposed to be any mics on.
Right.
And she said, when I get elected, I'll have a lot more leeway.
Yeah.
So,
well,
and then when Trump gets elected, Putin's a piece of garbage, this, that, and everything else.
Yeah. And
he helped Trump win the election. Well, why would he want to help Trump win the election if you clearly told him you'd pretty much do whatever you want if you won?
Right.
So as much as they want to try to separate themselves from Putin, they can't.
No.
They're tied directly in with him.
Well, yeah, and as far as that goes, I mean, that plays into the narrative at that level where you have your players. It's all theater. Like, from the top down, it's all theater.
What do you think happened yesterday at the Senate building?
Nothing.
Yeah,
like,
but why did they have to go in there?
Well, no, did you see who's in D.C. today?
No.
Trump's in D.C. today.
Oh, really?
That's why
yesterday. Yeah, but did you see it?
No, that's why yesterday happened as a...
Well, I think, honestly, why yesterday happened, let's think about this. We have to investigate a possible shooter. active shooter in the Senate building. Everybody evacuate
Okay.
or hide in place, whatever they did. Well, now you just got pretty much free reign
Oh yeah.
to go into every senator's office and see, they're looking for something.
Well, and
Or they're planting something or one or the other. Why else? Listen, you're in a building that you ain't gonna tell me doesn't have cameras on every damn floor, that focus on every office door, and you don't know if somebody's in there with a fucking gun.
Yeah.
Are you? I mean, they must think we're just idiots. Like even the cocaine, they haven't figured out who does that, who brought that in.
Yeah.
You have cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
It's all
So the only reason they're doing that was, like you said, because Trump's in there, or they're trying to plant or look for something.
Right.
What are they looking for?
Yeah.
Whose computer do they want to slip the little USB device in and copy the files out of?
Well, I mean, hopefully it's that they're looking for. There was just another big name that had a mysterious thing happen to where they're no longer going to be in the public eye anymore.
Maybe
And
you know what they were.
I feel like they're grabbing people.
What they were probably doing, honestly. I know you think I'm beating a dead horse. They were probably rebooting Mitch McConnell. Because listen, I've been talking about this for years. Our leaders are old.
Well, and they've been old for too fucking long.
They're wearing diapers.
Yeah.
They can't even take a shit when they want to.
Yeah.
They have to. That's why they got to wear diapers, and they're pissed themselves. I mean, look at Jerry Nadler. He was up on doing a speech or something, and he ended up shitting his pants, and everybody around him knew it. We could pop the clip up of that. I mean, you can clearly see he did that. I mean, the guy walks like a penguin.
Yeah.
Then you got Mitch McConnell, who's ancient. He needs to hit the road. You got Dianne Feinstein. I mean, how can you legitimately...
Joe Biden.
Yeah, but
don't miss the biggest one.
I'm not done yet.
Okay.
How do you legitimately, like... Did you see where she had to vote?
Oh, yeah.
You have to say yes. You're supposed to say A. You're supposed to say... Listen,
So do you see what I mean when I say voting doesn't fucking matter?
Who the hell's voting?
Yeah.
She's obviously not voting. She doesn't
Yeah.
know what the hell's going on. Then she starts talking about how she supports the vote. Well, that's not what you're supposed to do. So obviously you're not in the... You can't serve.
No.
Then you got Biden, like you said. He's going to run for another term. Are you kidding me? The guy can't walk now. He can't even walk up the stairs. He's got to walk out the bottom of Air Force One and in the bottom because he doesn't want to be tripping up the stairs.
Well,
so what we got to put limits on age, but they're never going to do it because these old dirtbags they want power.
right. And that was the funny thing is they put an age on
how young you can be.
Yeah.
But there's no age on how old you can be.
Yeah.
So you go in right now. I mean, you got Joe Biden. What is he? 80 something?
Gotta be. I don't know.
I think he's 8. I don't. How old? I think he's 80.
Yeah. He's
So
too
let's just-
fucking old.
let's just
Like
say-
that, you don't need to put a fucking age. See, the numbers game is where everybody gets lost. In the
Let's say he
sauce.
wins.
Yeah.
He's got another 4 years. He's gonna be 84.
Yeah.
I mean, what the hell's gonna happen? In 4 years, he's gonna crash and burn.
Right.
Then you got these senators. They're in for 6 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why you got this issue with Feinstein.
Yeah.
He should have never even ran before.
No.
So there's got to be some kind of limit on this nonsense because these old
They can't even
degenerates-
they can't use technology.
They don't even know
but they
how the
want
hell
to tell other people how they should.
No, they want
use
to make
it.
rules on the
Yeah.
technology. You don't even know how the hell the world's working anymore.
Right.
Hell, I don't even know how the hell half this technology works, and I'm half their age.
Right.
So you guys are gonna make rules that the Gen Zs or whatever are gonna have to follow.
Right.
And you're never gonna have that. Those rules are never gonna affect you because you're already out of that game.
Well,
Hell,
and that's what I mean when
half
we're-
of them probably still have beep pagers on them because they can't.
Well, they probably do that to be able to communicate on a different way, so their
That's
shit's a
possible.
little more encrypted or
they
whatever.
got all their burner phones
oh
for
my
that.
god,
shit.
yeah.
But I mean, when are people gonna? I mean, how do these people vote for these idiots?
Right.
I mean, you're voting for somebody that's. You look at your grandfather or your grandmother that's 70-some years old. Now, there are a lot of 70-year-olds that look like they're 50.
Right.
But, you can't base it off the 10%.
No, because the majority have been indoctrinated into the new American matrix.
Exactly. And the ones that are 70 and they look like they're 50, they just got great genes.
Right.
Half of them, and they say,
well, no, it's not just great fucking genes. It's they probably also put in the work to keep themselves.
Some
in
of them
that
do,
shape.
but some of them don't. I mean, I've seen them 100-year-old on TV. How do you get to where you're at? I drink a Dr. Pepper every day.
Well,
if
that's
you
a
told
nice
your doctor
fucking
that
story. Yeah.
If you told the doctor that, they're going to say, that's the worst thing for you.
Right.
You should have been drinking more water.
Yeah.
But so you can't. some people just have different genes. And listen, some people just get lucky. But the vast majority at that age, they can't do anything for themselves.
No.
You know, all they can do is sit around and bitch and complain.
Right.
I mean, my dad's in his 60s, and that's all he does anymore. So I had to yell at him yesterday because all he's doing. I said, would you shut up and stop complaining? All you're doing is bitching. Nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
But they're too old to do. They can't run the country. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Right.
They shouldn't be able to make laws. They shouldn't be able to vote on laws. If you can't even say A or nay on your own,
Yeah.
and you need to have 3 people telling you this is what you're supposed to say.
That day, she should have been suspended, pending evaluation.
Exactly.
And then beyond that, once the evaluation came through that she was too old and was having...
She's not with it?
Yeah. Then,
you can't do it. It's dereliction of your duty. She can't do her job.
Right.
Listen, there's nothing wrong with that. You served for how many years?
Yeah.
Step away. I mean, she's like an old-ass quarterback or baseball pitcher that thinks they can do it, and they end up being awesome for 20 years, and then they just look like shit because the last year they just wrecked all their numbers because their name's the only reason they're even on the team because it draws a crowd.
Yeah.
It's not because they're actually doing anything.
Well, I mean, and that's kind of where we're at in general. That's why movies are failing. That's why everything is crumbling down around us because the names that are attached to all these things are not good. Like we're realizing that they were all tainted, they were all corrupt, and I mean, regardless of how long they've been around too fucking long. All of them, whether it's politics, whether it's media, whether it's just
look how
tech.
I love how they go after these. You got to support these guys that call them out on it too.
Yeah.
I mean, do you see what Guy Fieri did?
Well, and that's the thing. That's everybody gets caught up in that cult of personality or kissing the ring.
Did you see what Guy Fieri did to Whoopi Goldberg?
No.
Oh yeah. So the View went to his restaurant.
Oh geez. Okay.
He tossed them out.
Oh, he tossed them out.
He told them hit the road. He personally did it.
Yeah.
Because he was in the restaurant.
He was there that day.
Yeah. There were 3 of them there. It was her, McCain, I think. I think it was McCain.
Yeah.
The daughter, I forget what her name is, and then one of the other clowns on the show.
Yeah.
And he walked up to him and he said, "You're not welcome here.
Oh wow.
Hit the road because every time you guys are in here, all you're doing is arguing with my other patrons.
Yeah.
And making a scene.
Yeah.
And Whoopi Goldberg called him racist, and he's like, "What are you nuts? Why don't you look at your other co-host who's white and she's getting tossed too?"
Yeah.
So then she pulls well, I'm going to tell everybody on our audience. He said, "Go for it because I know your audience. You don't have one." So he just you got to love that. And then you got Ice Cube. I called him Ice T last week, I think, but Ice Cube, who's calling them all out on it.
Yeah.
They wanted him to take the jab.
Yeah.
He didn't conform with it, so they're trying to bury him.
Yeah.
You got Chappelle.
Yeah.
Who calls them out on all their bullshit.
Well, he does, but at the same time, he also he is what I see him as is a controlled hangout, what they call it, because he's right there rubbing elbows with him. When he disappeared to Africa and had his awakening, I mean, he still came back and was moderately around the same people. So I mean, it's nice to have I want to have faith in some of them that they're not all that corrupt, but I mean, it's usually guys like him that talk a good game, but then you come to find out that they've got the darkest of dark secrets behind
It's possible.
them,
I mean, you got Mark Wahlberg now is calling him out on it too. I mean, there's a lot of them that are coming forward.
Yeah.
Which is good to see.
Well, it's good to see that, but it is also the thing of it's like I've been saying. I mean, we can talk about it, but we're at a point where talk is over. We need to do something because
we need to blow the lid off of it.
Yeah, and I say my advice is we put a wall around DC. We get all those people, the innocent people who have nothing, they're just living their life there. And we just we turn DC into a prison for these people. And we ship them in there. We get them all, they all wanted to hang out there so much. So we all just get them there. And then we just turn DC into an actual prison state for them to play in and do what they want to do we just keep them in there where they can't affect anyone, and we create the good people in the military branches help to create a new America moving forward. I mean, because beyond that, and I know it sounds extreme, but I mean, like, the shit they're doing is extreme, and they may put on a good faith and say some good shit that's based off of a script into a camera. I mean, people who talk that well and can spin a lie that well, where they're literally using language against us, where just because they have a different definition in their head when they say something, it literally will be what they're saying in their head, not what they're saying out loud. Do you understand what I'm saying there?
Well, they make up their own words all the time.
Exactly, and their own definitions to those words.
Exactly.
But there are core words that they use that are for the purposes of control.
Yeah, then they get their, they get charged with something, and then there's a new definition of what the actual law is.
Yeah,
to benefit them.
And then once they get caught doing what they've been doing, well, yeah, we'll stop doing that, and then we'll put laws in place so nobody else can do that, like the insider trading stuff.
Well, what cracks me up with like Hunter Biden? Let's just talk about that.
Okay.
They said he owes like $100,000 in back taxes. Get the hell out of here.
Right.
If he didn't pay all these taxes, the penalties and interest alone are over $100,000.
Exactly.
So I don't know who the hell they're trying to kid.
Especially for as much money as he was bringing in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
More like he owes a couple million. Like, let's call it what it is.
Well, I mean, they all owe billions of dollars to the American people.
And what does he owe to his daughter?
Right.
In back child support.
Right. You mean the one that
Biden finally acknowledged? You want to talk about a security threat?
Well, she's old enough. She's old enough to be on his sniffer now.
Yeah, exactly. But
she's on his sniffer.
You want to talk about like national security threats?
Yeah.
Why isn't he charged with violating national security? Because he didn't when he didn't acknowledge her, she didn't get Secret Service protection.
Really?
Oh, well, yeah. If he doesn't acknowledge her has his family, no Secret Service protection.
Okay.
Now that he acknowledged her, she can get Secret Service protection. So he's been in office, over 2 years? Almost 3, going on 3 years?
Yeah.
Or is it going on 4?
No.
2024, he'll be out, right? So this is over, this is
25, actually. 25,
yeah. So 2.5 years.
Yeah.
So for 2.5 years, anybody could have got to her. Yeah. Anybody could have kidnapped her. Anybody could have did anything.
Yeah.
And that's not a threat to national security.
Right. Well, it's like I said, when you see the picture they put with the news article, you can clearly tell why she has been acknowledged by him, because he now, like, to me, when she wasn't acknowledged by him, that girl was better off.
Absolutely.
That girl is now worse off because her grandfather has she is on his attention. She is on his radar now. And with the diabolical shit that man will do to human beings, like...
Well, what they're going to probably try to do, like you said, he's on the radar. So now Hunter will try to go for emergency custody.
Yeah.
She's in danger.
Yeah. And then I'm sure she'll get a trip to the White House.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the last place that girl should be.
Exactly.
Yeah. No fucking kids should be anywhere near the White House.
No.
Come on, man. It's a state of stupidity.
It's a state of stupidity.
State of stupidity. That's just a state of stupidity.
State of stupidity.
I believe it's a state of stupidity.
They want you to believe it's the state of stupidity.
I told him, I said it's a state of stupidity.